Hello, degenerates, and welcome back to another Smash Ultimate analysis video. So, today we're going to be looking at a topic that I get asked about pretty frequently, as suggested by the title. This is actually going to be an analysis video on doing analysis of like sets or matches that you're watching. This is something that I do get asked pretty frequently. All throughout various discords, like, what are the things that I look for whenever I'm doing a video analysis and things like that. But ultimately, I want this to kind of like provide insight on like how you should like further do your own analysis on these things, just because it's like the things that I'm going to see are going to be very different from the things that you see. And I'll kind of get more into the nitty gritty of all that. But before we do get into all of that, I do want to talk about this once again. We have started making face masks on Teespring, so because of that, we do have this very nifty coasting face mask. So if you are in need of one and you want to rock out with some duck hunt gear and all that stuff, this would be the way to do it. So, matchup analysis or VOD analysis, so to speak. Definitely, this is a very important part about just like growing as a player. Just because like there's going to be a lot of things that you're just not going to pick up when you're just playing the game. Like you need to watch videos of like different people, different matchups, and you need to watch videos of yourselves in order to improve. Because like, something that like everybody always hears about is like backseat drivers. Whenever you're watching a set or something like that, you're always doing that with the backseat driver mentality. Like without you like putting all of your stakes within a match and like you feeling the nerves and like all this other pressure that's going on around you when you're playing, mostly within a tournament setting, you're going to be able to have like a different observation and analytical look than versus if you are playing inside the match itself. So reviewing your own VODs this way will help you find a lot of holes with the way that you play, and can also just like kind of make you figure out things that you just wouldn't necessarily be able to do. And these are kind of like three different categories that I break down VOD analysis for. If you are ever going to do an analysis, you got to have this every single time you do it, and that's to have an objective. If you do not have an objective whenever you're going in and just watching these videos in general, then it's going to be really hard to figure out like how do I improve, where do I begin, and all that other stuff. Like you need that in order to do this. The other thing too is when you are looking through these things, you want to look at your interactions. So that's going to be between character interactions, so like how do these two moves interact with each other and stuff like that, and like frame data and things like that. Positioning's another one, just because like that in and of itself, where characters are positioned in relation to each other, is another interaction that's going on. And then also the player interaction, which is more of kind of like the mental aspect of it and understanding how you like to play and how your opponent likes to play. And then lastly, after that, you kind of expand that more to decision making and all that stuff. Does the stuff that they do make sense within the context of this, or did it make absolutely no sense? And is it worth finding out and understanding why they made these decisions? So with all of that overview out of the way, let's break into it. So I do have a video prepared for us over here. We're going to pause this for a second. And this is how I frame it. So let's kind of use this one as an example. Let's say that I am a Duck Hunt player that wanted to learn specifically about the Inkling matchup. Like let's say like just my local Inkling players just body me, or I'm just getting bodied by elite Inkling players all the time. Of course, Wi-Fi is going to have a little bit of a thing with that, so don't be so discouraged about things like that. But if you're just having trouble with Inkling, just like watching other players is going to be a good way to figure this out. So that's going to be our objective. How does Duck Hunt fight Inkling, and was this player successful in doing so? And we're going to watch this video, break down, and see if they were, what did they do right, what did they do wrong, and how could they have been successful within these scenarios. Also, like those other points that I broke down, like with the interactions, the decision making, I'll be elaborating more on those as well as we're going through this. And there's always two things that you want to have just ready at all times. So you want to have your VOD up. You also want to have your game up. So particularly make sure you have like the two characters that you're analyzing there. So if you do need to figure out interactions, you can do that. Now we're going to be a little bit lighter on that in this case. And the other thing that you want open is ultimate frame data. I'll make sure to link that down in the description below. If you guys, for some reason, have been a part of this channel and you don't know what this website is, I did something very wrong, but ultimate frame data basically is where you're going to find out all the frame data for every single character. And it's a tool that you see me use all the time whenever we're doing the match critiques. Don't forget, I'm going to have one tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And it's great because, like, not only do you get to see the hitbox, you get to see, like, the percentages and everything. They don't use the 1v1 multiplier in this, so always just keep that in mind. But, you know, you can break down everything frame by frame so you can see exactly what these things look like and whatnot. So really good for that and just figuring out interactions. So I wouldn't be surprised if we use that a few times here. And as well as it'll show you like how safe it is on shield if you do these things perfectly and whatnot. So you can figure out like, oh man, I can't punish that. But then you look at the frame data and you're like, wait a minute, I could definitely punish that. So things like that are going to be very important. And let me open up the Inkling tab as well. And we're all set. So if you guys have never heard of this particular YouTube channel, it's called Temisuma. This is a really, really good YouTube channel to look up. Unfortunately, they don't tend to have too many duck hunts on here, but like if you're looking for like high-level Wi-Fi VODs, this is definitely the best one to do. Basically, this one is just like a whole recap of just like tournaments that happen to Japan on Wi-Fi, and like Japanese internet is extremely good. Of course, you're still going to play with the Wi-Fi input delay, which kind of adds like 5 frames on top of like the game stuff already. So you're always going to be playing a little bit slower on here. It's not exactly perfect online, but they always have like very stable connections regardless if it's Ethernet or not, and it's like buttery smooth over there. So if you want like the most tournament accurate things that you get of like new concurrent VODs, this is the place to go. Like, you know, this one happened back in April. This is when the whole pandemic is going on. So right here, they're still pumping out a lot of things, and you'll find a lot more obscure characters on here, and like generally better players of these obscure characters too. And always it will be with like the tournament legal sets and stuff like that. So highly recommend checking out this channel if you need to find like footage of just like characters you won't see as much, and just like on a very consistent basis. Like they upload like not daily, but like very close to it. And, you know, you'll find players like Zaki, LYC's on here as well, a couple others. Fortunately, Raito doesn't tend to end up in these VODs, but, you know, hopefully one day he will. If not, you can always check out his YouTube channel. You'll find plenty of footage of him. So, yeah, so let's break down into this. As far as these two characters are concerned, one of the things that you can analyze is stage books and see like how much it really is going to affect them. Personally, I don't think there's really any stages that like help or hurt you in this matchup. Like the one thing I could say is this, is that having the platforms might help Inkling kill a little bit earlier, just with the way that they can kind of like combo up air strings and like kill you off the top. But generally speaking, like, I don't think that's going to have too much of an issue. And if anything, Ducka could do the same exact thing with his up air. So I think it kind of balances out over there. Not to mention, it's like, I feel like Inkling can do a little bit better on an FD stage in terms of like being able to secure the kill. Because like sometimes they just need to go for a roller. And it might be a little bit easier to do that if they don't have any platforms interfering in the way. But otherwise, you know, the window to get like their Booyah combo on us is really, really tight. So that's hard for them to do. Not to mention, if you know what the percents are, you can just like plan on caniciting out. So then that way you just like blow yourself up to get outside of that range too. So like we have it's pretty easy to avoid. Like I think one can will knock you out of the range immediately if you end up inside it. So you don't even have to worry about resetting that much. But yeah, let's go on in here, and we're going to go with the perspective that we were LYC playing in this. So when you're doing this, keep in mind, think about the decisions that you make compared to LYC in this case.
3, 2, 1, go!
So like right there, that's something that I would basically never do. Because like with me, whenever I'm starting off, I like to just like full hop can right there, and then that way have the opponent approach me. But LYC had a complete opposite thought, is like just run up and then full hop can and then jump away. So right off the bat over here, we can see what he was setting up is basically by doing this, he was kind of betting on them not approaching. Having the can up here is going to cover any aerial approaches here, and then he's fading back here. But overall, the grenade is going to cover his landing position. So in this case, as long as the Inkling doesn't jump, which their grounded game is very good too, they're not going to be in too bad of a position. So like overall, just looking at this setup right here, I think it's very bad. Just because like your can, it's going to be dropping right about there. just in case they were able to jump around. But like over here, now that we finished it up, you can kind of see he's got a pretty good sandwich over here. So like the Inkling player can't really back off further than this. So they're kind of stuck between Duck Hunt and them. But again, LYC's back is also kind of to the grenade as well. But it's not nearly as much of a problem. And good right there. That's something that you Duck Hunt players generally not do enough, is just reset your can there. So always remember, just like being able to have access to can against can always be a very important thing. So let's talk about like this setup over here. This was a very common thing to do back in Smash 4's full hop can and then fall down with air, fair. So it doesn't like combo anymore. Like before you could fair and then that would true combo to the can, but the can just goes a little bit higher. But basically full hop can, you can then generally have enough time to like stuff out anybody trying to hit you with like a fair of your own. And then that way you have an automatic setup where your opponent's between you and the can. So it's a really good thing to do. But in this case, like they kind of missed. If we really look at the way that they fell down, it was a little bit weird. So it's like Inkling has like basically 0 landing lag. But if you wanted to know why did that fair miss, it's because the hitbox disappeared. And not only that, they also ended up in the blind spot. So when you break down fair, you notice there's this little sour spot here. But after this point, it disappears. So you can see the duck right now, his head's upside down, but the body hasn't completely turned upside down yet. But here the body's completely turned upside down. So the Inkling's already in this zone, so fair is going to miss them already. But we can see the hitbox is still active here. So the Inkling was just in the dead zone right there, and that's the reason why that move missed. As you can see right there, that's still an active hitbox. Whereas we go one more frame. Now, wait, the hitbox I think is still there. Yeah, so the hitbox is still active right here, but you can see the way that the Inkling's body is being positioned. It's just missing that, because like right there, that wing's kind of poking outside of the hitbox. And if you look right there, the wing is just like barely touching them. So literally, if he fast fell like 1 frame sooner, it might have been able to hit the Inkling, but there's no guarantee of that. Oops, I hit the wrong one. Yeah, and then if we get the landing animation. And then right there, as you can see, Inkling's back here is ridiculously safe on shield. So if you're wondering like why Inkling can just like keep throwing that out and not get punished, having this website on hands always can be handy. Over here, you can see it's -2 and -3 on shield. So it takes about, let me see, yeah. So the shield drop takes 11 frames to do. So by being -3 on hit, when you drop your shield, that means that they are going to be +8 on you. So that means that by the time you finish dropping your shield, they have enough time to do a forward tilt on your shield. They got enough time to jab. They got enough time to down tilt. Technically enough time to up tilt, but that won't hit everybody. They have enough time to dash attack. Like, there's just like so many different things that they can do. They even have enough time to like theoretically up smash you. Because most jabs are not going to be frame 1. This could be like frame 3 or something like that. And then roller, they're not fast enough to do, thankfully, but they're just able to do so much within that time. So like right there, that was a pretty good setup over there, just because like he was able to like throw that gunman to block the grenade there. So if that was something that I didn't know before, that's something that I'll keep in mind, and I'm going to be watching how that gunman's going to interact with the grenades. And, you know, that's something good to note right there. Is like, although they do, like, that gun is a disjoint, I can at least see that, like, it's not big enough for them to get around shield can't if they are hitting my shield. So that's, like, another good piece of information I can take into consideration right there. So, like, right over here, I didn't really agree with that fear there. Like, I would rather just gone for a dash grab because like I didn't think they would like be able to leave at that moment. And then let's see, like, you know, he was able to get that really, really good combo right there. And like with me personally, I didn't see that one coming. So like, let me go back and let me take a look at that. So full hop there. And then see, he was able to like full hop fair. And then if they're dashing below me, fair there. And then able to get like that back air over there. So now that I know that, there's one more thing I got to take a note is what percentage they were at too. So in this case, they're like around 60%. So if at this point, this is what I know. If I full hop and if I fair inkling around like 60% and they're right in front of me, then I should be able to combo them to can at that point. See, like right there, that was a decision that I personally didn't agree with. The way that like I always like to play is like I always like to do a setup. So like over here, what I would have done is I would have just turned around and like done a gunman or a full hop can here. So then that way it's like I'd be able to like intercept them again coming in. Because like if I full hop can, by the time they land, I should be able to do another action by that point, and then I'll have can out. So basically, they'll have to watch how they jump because cans can be falling down on them. And then I have enough time to react to how they're moving that I could just jump to different places in order to respond to whatever their action is. Whereas here, them going for that dash attack just got them punished here. And honestly, it was not a trade they really need to do. And then over there, we had like a panic clay pigeon too. And like, you know, if you say like, oh man, you panic clay pigeon there, I wouldn't have done that. And if you go back and watch your VODs and you do that too, then like, you know, that's something you just got to take note of. Also, like, let's look at that little grenade interaction there, where it hits the shield, and he just stays in there. In that case, but like, it just like blew up immediately, so he couldn't have done anything. But like, he definitely could have like, after it touched the shield, he could have like rolled in to get behind or something like that. And you know, if it's something that you question, you can always go into training mode and like test it out yourself. So let's get right back over here. So in this case, like when you have to test things yourself, you know, this is something that is going to require you to have two controllers. So you do have to make sure that you have that. So you're going to go into this, and you're going to do that. So you make sure you have it there. And then we're going to hold shield with duck hunt. And I got to figure out how to actually throw the ink again. Okay, so it's just you hold down B. Thought it was that. Okay, so in this case, hold shield, hold down B. And now I'm going to hold shield with duck hunt. And then I noticed that it doesn't exactly blow up immediately on my shield. And then let me just like roll afterwards. So like depending on how like it bounced off my shield, then I can figure out what I can do best over there. So I think if I just jump and press down B, let me see if it's going to hit my shield. And in that case, it's not. So let's go over here to like best recreate it. I think this should work. God, I feel like I have to get like such a precise angle with it. So in this case, it touches my shield. Let me see if I can roll in. Yeah, so at this point now that like I've kind of confirmed that, So if I know if it touches my shield, I can at least get a roll in there. So you can make that an automatic response. But at the same time, like a tactic like that, you want to look to see like where their positioning is and all that. So, you know, if we break it down, let me go back to this stuff. Actually, it's probably happened just before. Yeah, it was right there. So there. In that case, like, I think that was the best maneuver just because she was so far away. But it's like, you know, just like looking at those little interactions like that and figuring out what you can do, well, it'll help you a lot. So I think he might be in bully out percent, but he jumped out. And that's good to know. So definitely knowing what like options you can punish with just like up smash out of shield. You know, we see that here that she wasn't exactly next to him. But let's see if we can punish it if she doesn't space it correctly, or if she does no spacing at all. Okay. I'm gonna go next to her. I'm gonna hold shield. And I'm going to hold shield with Inkling because that's the quickest option they could do. And yeah, so if they don't space it, then I'll be able to punish out of shield. And I'm going to try it from behind now. Because it's like, you know, I want to know why he went for up smash out of shield. I think that time it did something weird. No, it worked correctly. Yeah, so now that we've like looked at that, we can understand why he went for up smash out of shield over there. So that's now more things that we know about the Inkling matchup. If they happen to not space their up smash properly, we can do that for a kill. The other thing that'd be worth noting too is they're at 194. So with also taking that into consideration too, the good thing for this one is about the only thing that we'd want to do is we would just want to make sure that we're DIing this with, we're DIing this with like the player 2 controller. So yeah, he was at 100. We'll turn on stale moves so that way we get the rage for it. We'll put her at 94. Okay. So in that case, with good DI, she's going to be able to live it. No DI at all, she dies, so. Actually, no, with good DI, she dies. I just realized it's because I did up smash 3 times in a row that she lived it. So yeah, good DI, she still dies. Let me try DI behind. Yeah, she dies, she dies earlier that way. And I'm going to try one last DI. Oh, that did not work the way I wanted it to. Yeah, so no matter what, like I think that was like the most optimal DI I could have done. The Inkling just dies to it, so that was good stuff to learn there. If we do happen to be in that scenario, like literally 194, just like that happened there, and if LYC was able to land it, he actually would have been able to kill right here. So yeah, that actually would have been the death blow if that was spaced differently. So it makes sense for him to go there. That wasn't really a bad decision on his part, just in case like he did catch her. Because like, you know, he's up by one whole stock right there too. See, like right there, that was a really good setup on his part. So he got the can out. And now it's like, look, theoretically, he probably should have covered that with, he should have covered the jump with his can, but he probably expected it to work. But like he just dropped at the last second there, so he just wasn't paying attention. And then he just like up aired way too late at that moment. And that was really smart on the Inkling's part, because if the Inkling player approached all, they would have gotten hit by shield can. Yeah, that was a really good response by LYC. So something that's important to look there is this punish right here. Because like if you ask me, he missed a big opportunity, and not only that, like he kind of butchered this whole thing because like he could have like done this a lot higher. But on the other hand, he did expect like we can look at this and think, why did he go for so low when this Inkling player did so early? Well, the normal conventional way of thinking about the Inkling matchup is when I'm fighting an Inkling player, I'm expecting them to go low and just like go as vertically as possible to ride up this wall so they can't get hit by much. And that's what LYC was covering. By going for that up air, the can is going to be pinging that way to the left. In fact, let me go to full screen so you see it better. So I would expect them to ping this to the left over here and then have that right up the wall so that way you can intercept the Inkling right there. And then when that happens, then that should just send them away right over there. But in this case, the Inkling player went early, so they might have been used to getting edge guarded that way. So that was a really good response by the Inkling player. And the thing, too, is here. He was able to get the parry on the Inkling player right there. So let's look at this. So he did a regular F-tilt. He didn't go for a down-angled F-tilt. And in all likelihood, if he went for a down-angled F-tilt, it may not have killed just because he staled it right there. But it might have at the same time. Because like the down-angled one, it does kill. It kills like 10% earlier. Yeah, because like with that one, I would say that might have been enough to do it. The other thing that we can try to figure out too is, he was able to get the parry on the Inkling player itself. So let's see if what's the most optimal punish that we can get off of this. Because first thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at how safe it is on shield. So when Inkling does up B, it is -30 on shield. So since that's the case, we should, in all honesty, just be able to just like up smash it very easily. So let's go frame by frame. Because there's no hitbox on the way down. And now we'll let go here. And let's see if I have enough time to just like F smash. So I have enough time to F smash. So that's something that I can know. I like Inkling legitimately cannot shield because like they will be like -30+ on your shield. Don't know exactly what the frame is. Let's figure that out right now. Okay, Inkling a little bit closer. And now parry. So one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 30. So it adds like 2 extra frames of being plus on her. So like F smash is a frame 17 punish, so you can go for that. And the other thing that we can try to do too is let's do up B with Inkling again. I did forget there is a hitbox at first. And let's face it a little bit further away. And this time we're going to try an up smash punish, and we'll see if we can hit her. Okay, yeah, so if we do that, we can go for an up smash punish. And if we want to be a little bit safer about it, We will also do down smash as well. Because like there we have much more range on both sides of us in order to do it. So depending on what direction we're facing, down smash or up smash might be better. And the other important thing to note about these moves is how long it takes for them to finish moving. So like for example, with Duck Hunt, let's look at how long these moves take. So this one takes 57 frames. So Inkling, if we whiff our down smash, and our final hitbox is on frame 28, then they will have like a decent amount of time to punish us, because then that's 5. They're able to act 4 frames later. So at that point, they would have like, let's see. Mental math is failing me a little bit. 37 minus 32 is 25. So they would have about so yeah, so if we did this like the moment they activate, yeah, so they'd have like about 25 frames to hit us if we did miss. So they'd at least be able to roller you. But like all likewise, it'd probably be a little bit spooked to challenge that after you whiffed. But that's just a good thing to know. Not to mention that also does give you enough time to respond with the Clay Pigeon too. So like if you need to do damage, that's probably the best thing that you can do. But if you need to kill, then I would go for the smash attacks. And also I did miss. How the hell did he get off stage? And that's all the work just to understand this one interaction. So like that's how deep you can go with these and like really figure out what you can do. So like here, if he decided to go for like F smash, that would have killed. If he went for up smash, let's see. Yeah, he could have gone for up smash and that would have connected very easily. Okay, he just tried to go super deep for that. But the good thing is like he didn't lose too much for that. Also, actually, let's look at that one little ledge interaction right there. Let's say you didn't understand what he was going for here. So there, yeah, he missed killing. So basically, what he's doing like right here is like he's trying to extend like how long these strong hitboxes are staying out and like how long this can stay out just to cover this whole ledge area. And like that can almost did snipe the Inkling player right there. It's just that he didn't like ping it in order to like actually hit him. So like something that we should have taken note that he didn't take advantage of that he did the first time is that gunman actually did block the grenade right there. And instead of like thinking like, oh, that's definitely going to take care of it, he just decided to shield on top of it. And he had like more than enough time to respond to it. So it's like with me right there. Let's look at that again. Yeah, it's like he got like the can there, and I'm like, and you're trying to think like, okay, a grab would have definitely won in that instance. But like, you know, what's the merits of going for up tilt versus that? So if you do up tilt on shield and somehow hit shield, which it should never, as you can see, is the hitbox here is very narrow. And it's very narrow, and like the collision hitboxes just prevent that from ever hitting your opponent if you're standing next to them. You know, if he was able to do that, he would have been able to chain it into like 2 or 3 up airs. So he would have gotten a lot of damage off of that and would have put him in a very good spot. But, you know, it's definitely more risky. And you have to think about, like, what are the merits of him going for that versus you doing that? So he's at 0%. So even if they did punish him for doing it, it wouldn't have been too bad. Like, they would have been, like, he would have been put off stage, but he should have been able to recover. And then you also got to think about, well, what was the thing that you're going to do? Okay, so I was going to grab them, forward throw, fair, and then depending on how that fair works, I might be able to get another one and put them off stage, which in total that might have been a better thing to do. Or I could have grabbed them and back thrown them and then just like kept them in the corner, which might have been better for overall. Okay, so let's also look at that other interaction right here. Not that one. So he went for like F tilt there, but like you also got to think like what else could he have done? So it's like here, the F tilt is like a pretty safe trade to go for. Like honestly, like nothing really happened to him. But like he also could have like done short hop and then like gone for another fair, and that would have led to a lot more. So you can like literally just break down these individual scenes and like see what are things that he could have done better. And the other thing too that you could have also taken into consideration here is after that is if he wanted to outspace this, he could have also done like a pivot grab in place there, and then that would have gone around it. Because you know, if you do a standing pivot grab, you do have here it is. If you do a standing pivot grab, you not only do you manipulate like how your hitbox goes, I mean your hitbox shifts, but you do have like this disjoint, and that would have been more than enough to grab this and just stay safe. So, you know, you can also look for different things you can implement in different sections to it. And then for those of you that are watching and are confused by the terminology of standing pivot grab, let me just show it to you real quick right here. If you look in my RTC video, which is actually pivot canceling, it's not run turn around cancel, it is pivot canceling. I really messed up the name of it. If you look at the end of that video, I talk about it right here. And basically you get to just like pivot grab in place. So to just kind of show you like the power of being able to do that. So if Inkling nairs right here, which is kind of like that, and like you see, if she came down and naired, so if she comes down and nairs here, I actually don't know the timing of how he got that trade. That must have been very specific. Okay, there we go. So if Inkling comes down and like nairs like right there, as we just saw, if I do my pivot grab, now I'm able to grab. But if I did my normal grab, like right here, so there it's still able to grab. There it's not because now she moved away. It's like there, I can't grab. And like this is kind of like the spacing for that nair trade. But if I do standing pivot grab, then I'm now able to grab Inkling very easily, very safely, and I don't have to worry about that. So just look for all those like little advantages that you can give yourself. And just to give you guys a very quick reminder on how this works. Basically what you do is you dash the other direction, and then you hit grab and the C-stick in the opposite one, and then you'll immediately buffer a turnaround grab. Basically by hitting C-stick in the other direction while you're hitting grab, it just thinks of it as an analog input in this way, and you're doing the grab already. So it's kind of like you're pressing A twice in R, and A plus R equals grab. So basically you're just kind of doing this plus another direction in that way, and that's why the pivot grab works. Okay, now back to the video. So that's like kind of like another decision-making thing that we can sort of analyze right here. So with that one hard read he got with the F smash, he's feeling pretty hot in his stuff, just because, you know, you don't go for that unless you're confident in where they're going to land. And not to mention, look at all that space he covered. He covered this entire thing because like the more that you charge F smash, the longer the reach goes. And he's able to get all that. And then over here, unfortunately, he landed it on here, but if he got there a little bit sooner, he might have been able to cover this. So he does that in anticipation of a jump out. And then he goes for a clay pigeon because like he assumes that the Inkling player is just going to stay down. So, you know, the risk reward for him. So if he landed that clay pigeon, he would have been able to kill her. But then if he misses it, that's all that happens. Still not a good position to be in just because his back's at the ledge. And at this point, being at 72%, the Inkling player might be able to kill him. Also, yeah, if you're confused by this, I do talk about this in my recovery video, but yeah, you can wall jump to help like aid your up B, but you just need to make sure you do it at the right height and you hold in, otherwise you won't grab the ledge. And then like, you know, let's say you've never done this for your ledge recovery mix-up. It's like, huh, full hop can from ledge. And he was able to jump over that and just protect himself from below. That's something I'll keep in mind. Okay, so now we're just going to like look at that and we're going to be thinking about like, okay, so how did he lose this interaction over here? Because like for the most part, he was doing pretty good with like all of his ledge stuff. So there's a couple things that we can notice that led to this whole issue. So he up airs there to keep himself safe, to just prevent like Inkling from going down. But we also noticed that his can hasn't been reset either. And not only that, he did his drop down ledge jump and he lost his jump there. So he did that immediately to getting back aired, and he does not have his double jump that entire time. So he didn't have like too much space to mix it up, but he still could have air dodged and lived. So there we noticed that he missed. Could he have killed him there? Yes. So if he did his turnaround back air, that would have killed Inkling right there. But if we also look at that setup that he had earlier, that one right there, it was really well done actually. So fair. So like if you wondered how you can implement this into your gameplay, if you're sending them to ledge and you know you can't make it, this is something that you can do. So truth be told, I think that was kind of a huge missed opportunity right there. Because like this is something that you can test in training mode. So let's look at to see how Clay Pigeon interacts with that ledge there. Like, could he have gotten a guaranteed kill right as soon as Inkling did that get up animation? So for now, okay, we're going to put Inkling here. Now I have something in the way. What's probably going to be best is if I can find out the distance where I can just hard toss and it'll land. So. Perfect. So now we're gonna do standard get up with Inkling. Now we're gonna hit B with Duck Hunt. And we're gonna hold shield with Inkling and let's see if they can get around this whole scenario right here. They can't. So we're going to try this one more time. We're going to hit B with Duck Hunt. Going to hold shield with Inkling. And they still get hit. So pretty much, at least against standard getup, I have a very guaranteed way of beating it out. So now we're going to try the next option with Inkling. We're going to try getup attack, and let's see what happens there. And that still punishes that because the hitbox is active enough. So we're able to beat out that option. Now we're going to do ledge jump. So Inkling starts moving, we press B. And that catches that too. So they're not able to get past that. So now we're going to do this again. Now we're going to roll with Inkling. Okay, now we're going to... Now we're going to do F-tilt with Duck Hunt. And we had enough time to just like run up and do that. But if we look at the situation that LYC was in this case, which is right here, we can notice that he was in this position of like waiting, and like as they were getting up, he wanted to make sure that he had rolled cover because he knew that the clay pigeon had everything else covered right there. But because he decided to go for that, he kind of missed his mark there, but he did have enough time to get that raw bear in if he really wanted to. But overall, he was still able to capitalize on that scenario. But like just being able to break down that scenario and just like lab out each and every single part of it is like one of the things that you should be doing. It's like, okay, is there more that he could have done with this than what was presented there? Like overall, very solid control over what the Inkling player was doing. So now we're moving to Pokemon Stadium, so we're getting a stage with platforms. Okay, so you might have looked at that, like that whole little interaction there. You've been like, okay, was that entire thing true or not? So let's try and figure that out right here. So we'll go back like right here. And we'll notice that he's about to go into the drop down. Oh, actually, that's interesting. So what happened here was he probably wanted to go for an up tilt, but he got a slide off by the Inkling instead. And it looks like the Inkling was about to jump, but he caught her in the jump squat. But because of the way that the second hit popped her up, that this whole up air sequence is true. Yeah, as there we can see that he just jumped into that grenade, so you gotta remember you need to use the invincibility to tank that. And also with the added effect of the ink being added on you, it just makes it that much easier to KO you. Also, that's a good thing to keep in mind for the matchup right here. Is that you know, they do have like a disjoint, so that's gonna beat our attacks most of the time. Cause like we can see that very plain as day. So if we look at our back air over here, we can see that we have this hurt box right here. And if we compare it to the Inkling back air, which is gonna be over here. There. That's entirely a disjoint, and that hitbox is significantly bigger than that because like our hitbox starts right there. So we cannot trade with that in our favor. And also by virtue of them just having like a whole disjoint there, it makes it easier for them to hit the can there and it not to just affect them. Also, you might have thought, this looks weird. So basically, it's getting hit and it's rising as the time that they're hitting it. And when you do that, that's when the can... Because if you notice, the can is kind of frozen in place. And then it gets hit again. But because like it kind of got hit and it didn't move that frame yet, it still is going to have the knockback from the shot. And that's the reason why you see it move like that. So right now, that bear, if Duck Hunt jabs it, it's going to do the knockback of the bear. Unfortunately, that's something that you're not going to know by just looking at this. This is something that you have to like read like Husky's like can storage tech, and I believe I covered it a little bit in the beginner's guide. If I don't, then I will have to go back and do it. But if not, the White Husky does have a lot of videos about this, and you can find those in Course K9. And also, like, the reason why it's a little bit hard to tell in this example is that what happens is that because, like, Duck Hunt hits it with fair, the fair and bear would do basically about the same thing in that scenario. So if Duck Hunt hit it with fair on this side and it went backwards, then you would have been able to tell. But because they're both in the same direction, a little bit hard to see that. Okay, so let's look at that. Let's see that decision that he just missed. So it's like, if you looked at that, like, wait, why did he swing and miss? So let's look at where that Inkling player was just like a few seconds ago, like from this position. So the Inkling player has like a couple of choices here. The Inkling player can jump again, or, well, actually, they're still in the Nair. So if anything, actually, he could have still hit. See, if we break this down frame by frame, we can actually see there's still the end lag of the Nair. So the Duck, LYC actually could have just faired her right here or just done a Nair or something, and that would have punished her. But he went for up air instead. So most likely, he probably just kind of missed. But with the way that he does this up air, I'm assuming that he expected the Inkling player to just jump again, so that way they could land on the platforms over here. But the Inkling player could have gone down to the ledge, or they could have gone down here. Like, see, they expected for the Duck Hunt player to stay grounded, and they went for a bear on the ground there. So we can see that both of them, they made a guess, and they both kind of were wrong. But the Inkling player's only concerned about getting back down and landing, so they're doing good. So there's two ways that we can think about this. From this just one interaction alone, we can tell two things. LYC likes to play more of the aggressive style and likes to make those hard call-outs. And as far as this player's concerned, it looks like they're more concerned about fighting their way down, and they expect that their opponent to be a little bit more grounded in a lot of these scenarios. Yeah, so that right there, we can see that it's very easy for like an Inkling player to just like low profile under the can. So like, you know, he launched the can, and then they can just dash right under. But this is a very common thing, like just dash up. One thing that I like to do personally is when I launch can and I see somebody running in. If I think they're gonna, if they have a history of grabbing and their grab game's not too good, then I don't mind taking the grab. But like once it gets to a point where I know they'll do it, then I'll roll in with the can, just because most like 90% of opponents will not run towards the can at all. So like over there, really good job of using the gunman there to kind of like use it as a wall. So with the way that he was standing right there, with the by having the gunman there, it puts the Inkling player into more hit stun frames, and it locks them in place. And if you want to see just how effective this is, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. The Inkling player is still there. So 6, 7. So I think like on frame 7 is when they fell. So it gives you significantly more time to punish them. And keep in mind that's a multi-hit move too. So there would have been a second attack that comes out. Let's see, how far apart are they? So up air, it would have been 5 frames later. So they probably would have been on the ground at that point. But, you know, just more than enough time to get that punish there. And then we see there that he actually didn't adapt to what he did before. Because, like, last time he was just ready to parry it and punish it. But now he's messed that up. Like, he did something really weird. Like, there was a very clear trajectory of him just standing there and not doing anything. And by that point, you could see that the Inkling committed to going in. So by seeing him dash there, it's either, okay, Wi-Fi, or just more nerves are getting to LYC in general. Because you can just see, like, for a lot of the part, it seems like he's, like, very desperate to make these hard calls. It's like right there, just going for that clay pigeon. Like, he was at a percentage where, like, that he could just get up, smash, and die. But it's like, you know, okay, I really want to hit them. I really want to get them out of the way. I think they're going to land and stuff like that. And keep in mind, like, Inkling can go under clay pigeon very easily, too. So at that point, you got to think like, okay, LYC is just like, he's really on edge. Like, he's playing with nerves. And we'll see if the Inkling player is going to continue taking advantage of that. Oh, it's been so long since I've seen that. Yeah, that used to be such a common thing back in Smash 4's Canicide. So, as you guys know, right side of can, fly to the right, left side of can, you fly to the left. So let's see how we got that interaction to actually happen. So if we look at that frame where Inkling actually down aired the can, we can see that most of her hurt box shifted over to the left-hand side. And then when she did that, it actually shifted over there as well. And that's something I really want to lab up. I really want to lab up ways to like make that work consistently. Yeah, so that's just very unsafe. Don't ever do that. Yeah, and he's just dead there. So if we go back here, let's see if there's anything he could have done. Yeah, so I think he was stuck in the end leg there. So it's like he had a shield immediately, but he may not have had enough time for that. It pays ultimate price. So what we can gather is this. Just from like a player mindset is like LYC kind of dominated that first one, but just by playing very safe. And he took those risks only when he was able to... He took the risks only when he could like afford to take those risks. But now that he's gotten to a point where he was playing from behind and he really wanted to get the lead, you could see him just crumble apart. Like he just kept going for like hard reads. When at this point he needed to play safe. And, you know, if you're really just paying attention to what the players' habits were in this particular game right here, that's what you're going to notice. Like game one, he was playing very safe and optimal until like he had like a 2-stock lead. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to be playing a little bit more risky. This game, like after, it was like after that first stock, like I think that first stock like really determined the momentum of everything. Just because like that Inkling player was able to get like this one sequence right here. Like, let's actually look at this. So he was at 21%. Fair. Back air. Yeah. From that one moment on, like, he died way too early. Like, I think he DI'd out. Like, he was trying to avoid the fair, but, like, he just had to hold in at that moment. And, like, after this... You see him like he's not playing spacing. He's just going for attack. And now he finally decides to set up. And see like right there, he's just like he mashed that. Like if you look at like let's look at this. That Inkling player is nowhere to be found when he's throwing this out there. And it's like, you know, he was in a hit stun too. So instead of like just going back and like just jumping up and covering this with like a fair or something like that, or just like even throwing up a can to cover that area, that's what he opted to do over there. And like, you know, if you really think about it, like for a player of his caliber, that doesn't make any sense to do. It's like, that's how you can kind of understand the nerves. And like even there... And like, you know, doing backwards gunman like that stuff. So like those are generally all signs of just somebody playing on nerves at that point. So we're going to get to his final one, which is going to be Kalos. So he won on FD first. So from that standpoint, if he felt most comfortable on that stage, then the Kalos pick makes sense just because this is the most like FD we have outside of Town and City. And unlike... Town and City, this one at least has walls we can jump off of. And with the side blast zones being so close, that might be slightly better for Inkling than us. So it's kind of a personal preference at that point. So both of them you're going to live for a while. Yeah, it's very standard LYC combo there. Again, like the clay pigeon, like he's just expecting her to run down or something. But he threw it out at a place where it was safe. So right now we can see he's in full control. He's attempting to cover the ledge over there too. Oh, that was unfortunate. He was able to armor the can damage right there. So we can like look at, so like, you know, that first section, absolutely beautiful. But like playing from here, while in most cases the up tilt does kind of make sense there, it was just like the Inkling player was like falling a little bit too fast. So it's like personally, like I would have gone for something like a parry right there and then just gotten the punish, especially since like fair is not safe on shield. Like fair is -8, -9. So if you add parry frames to it, then it ends up being like +11. And then, you know, just good patience playing all around that. See, like, they're really good confidence there just going for that whole setup. And see, like, that was a really good response there. Like, he was staying patient and then just did a get-up attack right into it. Very easy way to beat out the roller. So, you know, if that was something that you never took into consideration, now it's something you can add to your anti-roller gameplay. So one thing that we can observe from this is, let's look at exactly where that he starts it. So if you throw, so basically like close to half of FD, if you throw a can, they do have basically enough time to just like roller you. So something to keep in mind is if you're going to throw out can at this distance, you want to make sure you're jumping with it. So then that way you cannot get roller cheese. So keep that in mind when you're like closer to death, when you're like at 100%. So, you know, things like that. When you're watching, it's like, okay, did they get hit? What could they do to avoid this? Is it something that I should keep note of? That's definitely something you should keep note of. Anything that gets you killed, and like that should be a fairly common occurrence inside a match, is something that you should take note of. Because probably that grounded can at that point, like considering like how much LYC just dominated that first act, he was probably playing that like a little cocky. He's like, yeah, I don't need to worry as much anymore. See, like now we're starting to play a little bit sloppy here. Like we saw him not wait for the gunman to go away. And then like, you know, he wasn't like watching exactly to see what the Inkling player was doing. Like they were charging that up for a decent amount of time and he wasn't taking that consideration. And this is actually a good thing to note. Like look at this. Is that we are actually able to just kind of run under. We're a short enough character that we can actually just run underneath the whole grenade. So just to like double check, make sure we're not just like talking out of our butt for this. Let's check it in game. Because if that's something that we can keep in mind, like, you know, if we're at a certain distance, we can just like run underneath. That's good to know. So let me dash. Oh god, that takes a long time for her to throw. Okay, hold up. Okay, I think we can dash now. Okay, so the duck just gets hit by that if they do a full charge. So let's see what happens if they do a half charge. Yeah, I think that was... Yeah, so it seems like there's various charges where we can actually go under it. So this is an overhead toss. So yeah, if they go for a full charge one, it looks like we can't exactly run under it. But let's see what happens if we crouch. We crouch and do it. Okay, so if we crouch, we can go under it. But like, so if you think they're going to go for a full one, crouch it. But if you don't think they're going to go for one, you can't actually rush them. So you can just stat. So like, if you think they're going to go for a full one, I would just cancel it into your down tilt. So that way you can just like cancel it into a crouch pretty much. And like that way you definitely will just avoid you'll avoid the grenade. And overall, when they go for a grenade, the other thing that's important to keep in mind is what's their frame data on that. It lasts, so if they do a full charge, they're stuck in it for 65 frames. So they're basically doing a clay pigeon at that point. So for full charge, it'll be better just to go for a jump. Because like a jump will get you over that guaranteed, and you can come in with a fair or something like that. Versus like a grounded approach, you're probably going to just get like a grab or something. So you just kind of have to adjust it for the way that they're doing it. But it does give you more varied options. And like, let's say you were kind of already like committed to that dash already by the time you see them doing that. You know you can at least get around most of them, unless it's full charge. Full charge, make sure you do the down tilt. And like by him getting that parry, you can tell that like he's very confident in what he's doing right now. And wisely not approaching while the grenade's there, especially if you can't tell what it's going to cover. One for the White Husky right there. Okay, so that's actually very good to know about. So let's look at this. So as they're going for the Booyah, he goes for the old can out trick. So can's frame 1. And they decided to up air. But in this case, because of the side that they up aired on, it actually sent them away. And if that's like at lower percents, so they're doing this. So keep in mind, if you're at lower percents and like you're not going to die to a can out, and they might potentially die or get edge guarded, very good option to use out of up through. So let's look back at that interaction right there. Yeah, so like at that point, he just wasn't watching where the Inkling player was. Because like I was kind of confused like what he got hit by there. Because like I thought he was just definitely be able to save and just like reset himself. But like if you look at it closely here, he kind of wanted to get back in the in the action there, so he was just kind of looking to trade, and he just ends up getting kicked for it. Again, like I hate him going for that, just because like on this stage, like whenever I play on this stage, I always cover the platforms first, because like most people love to land on these platforms. Like it's like a magnet to this. So what I like to do is, in this case, like he could have like full hopped clay pigeon, but like you need to do like a soft toss to really get where you want it. But he could have done like a hard toss and he would have had to just straight up hit her. Or he could have done full hop can and then just like ping the can right here. So that way you're going to cover the platform. And then if they decide to go to ledge, they can't jump over here. You have that covered and you can cover everything else. And despite him just being in the lead there, you know, that actually took it from him. And it looked like he may not have been able to shield before. Let's see. Yeah, he was still stuck in end lag. And once again, we have to talk about that. That Inkling player. Now in this case, yeah, like they just started it from all the way over there, but like he wasn't watching. And he did the short hop too. If he did a full hop, he would have been okay. And then already we kind of see LYC playing a little bit sloppy. Like he's just like attacking where they already were. because like he's not like going in pressuring and then like waiting to control like center stage. He's literally immediately giving it up right there. So at that point, like you have to play with the mindset that your opponent's probably playing a little bit desperate there. Also, we did see Inkling go for that up throw setup again, but they have enough rage that it's making it a little bit hard. I think the can out was a good method though, because like if they did go for up air, they would have gotten hit, but it wouldn't have killed them. He got lucky there. Yeah, he doesn't have can available to him, but he's able to get around the roller that time. Yeah, there he probably like messed up his can. Yeah, unfortunately, he did try to stuff her out there, but wasn't able to do it. And basically, let's try to break down exactly why that last stock went the way it did. Because like I think that's something that may not be immediately obvious to everybody, is that he was not playing to his strengths at all, or Duck Hunt's strengths. And you have to remember that like Duck Hunt's strengths is always going to be just like setting up and trapping your opponent and not challenging your opponent. When you look at all these interactions that LYC is doing, you have to look. He's challenging them every single time. Like there, ran in and got back aired for it. Now there, it's like that was kind of a risky place to then. He could have actually like air dodged in this way, and then like he would have been around the can. So that was a pretty risky option right there, because like the Inkling could have just ran in and dash attacked there. There was no reason for the Inkling to be afraid. Yeah, like after the dash attack, just he could have like ran in, grabbed, and then up thrown, but they may not be comfortable enough in this matchup. So it's like at least like he was able to like force like that option there, but like this is only an option you really use against people that are not experienced in the matchup. Because like that's the thing, if they don't know how Duck Hunt works, you can use like your gunman to intimidate them like crazy. Like something that you should keep in mind whenever you're fighting somebody is when you throw out a gunman, see how often your opponent shields. If they never attack you, like even if like you're like 5 character spaces away, which pretty much every character can dash attack Duck Hunt at that point, then you can keep in mind, okay, if I drop down a gunman, I'm gonna force them to jump or shield, and I can go ahead and punish them for it. Like you can play mind games with like cannon gunmen based on how your opponent reacts to them. There's like just probably a misinput. And then like there again, I would expect him to be playing a little bit panicky. So he did do a misinput there. But like, okay, Inkling was just jabbing in the wrong direction. And jabs, like even if Inkling decided to stop after jab 2, jab 2 has a FAF of 21. It's negative 16 on shield if they did it. So like, he had plenty of time to just drop shield and like down tilt or something. Instead, he goes for an up tilt. Like that's just kind of weird. Like I don't know why you up tilt there, because like your opponent is clearly nowhere near you. Like they're not going in this direction. Even if they jumped over you, that up tilt wasn't going to hit. I'm playing safe. But yeah, like that was the thing, like is like LYC was always like trying to get a hit in order to reset. So you got to think about like what are the things that he could have done in this scenario. So over here gets hit. He's there by can. Okay, so that's gone. And then at this point, you just wait for their option and like you just jump again to see what they do. Because if you jump again, they're not going to have, and there's nothing that Inkling has that can catch the double jump immediately, but they will be able to like catch you on the ground. So then at that point, you should be able to land and like prevent yourself from getting hit by this, because they committed to that move like way in advance. And if anything, like if they aren't jumping up with the roller and like he just decided to like just continue to go forward, he could have thrown a clay pigeon backwards and caught them unless they did the jump out. And if they did the jump out, then they would have gone to the platform over here. and you'd have like center stage control, and you'd be able to do that. It's like in this case, he kept wanting to trade to reset versus using his positioning and spacing in order to reset and just like kind of get it organically by just kind of moving around Inkling himself. And I think that would have just ended up a lot better for him, just because then he wouldn't have to like panic through all of these things, and then he just lost there. So yeah, by talking about all those different points, we kind of broke down the objective of just like learning these interactions with Inkling and all that. So we took a bunch of those moments where it's like, okay, this might be something you might not know. We broke it down, and we looked at what are things you could have done better. Why did this work? How did all these interactions work? We looked at the hitboxes. So we showed you how to use UFD. We showed you how to use like the training mode switch, going frame by frame and whatnot. We even talked about some of the decision making and the player mentalities where we saw like LYC was clearly panicking, and we even pointed out right here this last stock how different his game plan was compared to like the first half of it. Because like let's just go back real quick just so I can kind of like refresh your memories on that. Right here, because like look how he plays it here. He's like clearly spacing right there. And like that should have been the true hit. But again, like he's holding ground and the Inkling's approaching him. He's not approaching the Inkling. Again, see, like he's keeping that careful positioning like at all times. He saw like the commitment, like at this point, like if you look at how early the Inkling went for it, so back here there, go back, get Clay Pigeon out to cover the ledge, and then because he did that so early, because like let's look at that one more time, back air. So he knows that there's going to take a lot of time for the Inkling to come back, so he throws out the Clay Pigeon here, and because like he's like a veteran enough player, he knows he has enough time to like react to them if they do not go to that area at that point. So over there, sees the commitment from the Inkling player, up air. Like he's reacting to it instead of being preemptive. So like now he's getting caught in the scramble where Inkling has the upper hand, and now he's committing back to his whole spacing game plan again. Except there he kind of forgot about the grenade. Like there, try to anti-air, not the best, but does the job. Again, jumps around, waits for the commitment to happen, because like the Inkling was going first in that case, and able to take advantage. And like you can see that's very, very, very different for the way that compared to the way that he played the end here. It's like they're like misinput. They're like, the up tilt not really making too much sense there. Tries to kind of like challenge his way back and challenges his way down there again, and then like he eats it for that. So it's like there's some moments where he's doing it, but like obviously like things with like Clay Pigeon stuff like that, I do think are kind of more nerves at the end of the day when you get there. But they still kind of led to his like downfall overall in the matchup. So yeah, that's kind of the way that I do it. I hope this helped you guys understand what I personally look for and like the ways that you can personally look at these things. Once again, if you're in the Duck Hunt Discord and you're particularly trying to learn Duck Hunt, do go through Course Canaan, because like pretty much like any question that you have about how can Gunman or Clay Pigeon works will probably be answered in there. Like White Husky is the can expert, and Pyro's Magic, he knows like a lot about the interactions with like a lot of particular things. There are two Prime Labbers, always, the player that was playing here, LYC. Follow him for just like really cool like Duck Hunt tech, because like LYC is the best Labber of this character that we have. Like he has found like a lot of really intricate setups and like all these other things that he can do. It's just like player mentality wise, he still has to work a little bit more in terms of decision making, but like in terms of things that Duck Hunt can do, LYC is the best at knowing that, but his English is very limited, so you won't really be able to talk to him. Of course, you can always ask me for different things too, as we have those match critique streams every single Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If it's ever different, it'll be updated on the Twitch schedule for that week as well. So you can always stay tuned for that. But that is the way that I always break these things down. Those are the things that you should be looking for. And I hope this can help you guys out. Like this is the time for just like studying things, because we're not able to go to tournaments, unfortunately, so this is the most we can really do, is just like watch these VODs, Get a list of people that you can play with that have a very, very stable connection with you. Because like if you can find people where your ping is very low and your connection's stable, it feels fairly close to playing to offline. However, when you're doing just like quick play and whatnot, and you're just playing a lot of random people, then you're gonna get a lot like those terrible connections that Smash Ultimate's notorious for. So get your training groups, get your training partner, start a group chat up, so then that way you guys can try to play each other regularly as much as possible. And like because there are no tournaments going on, you might as well also learn like things that you feel like you might be lacking. Like let's say, the way that I play, I feel like I'm lacking more fundamentals, and you might want to play a character that forces you to learn that, like playing like Wolf or Lucina, because like if you don't have good fundamentals with those characters, you're just going to lose. Like they're good, but they're only good if you have good fundamentals. Or it's like, okay, I need to play a little bit more patient, and focus on a character that forces you to play like that more. Like a heavy generally will force you to do that, like kind of play like a heavy spacing game, kind of like dash back, and like just like kind of like zone them from trying to come into you. Like a lot of heavies are pretty good for that too. If you need to focus like more on grab conditions, then like Duck Hunt's very good at like kind of conditioning that out. If there's any matchups where it's like you think a character's BS, play them to figure out, are they actually BS? What do they struggle with? So you can focus on learning how to like capitalize on that. So all things like that. Well, with all that said, I hope you guys found this video very helpful. I'll definitely be doing like more just guides like this. Just whatever topics I can think of at the moment. I'll probably be doing one on commentary at some point, just because while it's not something being talked about right now, I do have a feeling when tournaments start up again, like the commentary game is going to be pretty different from what we were used to before. However, I think there's going to be certain aspects of it that are going to be the same, and I'll kind of get into those more when I finally get around to making that video. But either way, let me know what questions you have. Let me know in the comments below. You can always hit me up on Discord. You can hit me up on Twitter, even on YouTube in the comment sections as well. As you know, I always do read them. Try to respond to you if I can, if there's something to respond to. Gonna try to keep up with the daily uploads because the critiques always keep up with that. As you saw, I had the Cuphead video uploaded just yesterday as well. So you'll probably see like more varied content as it comes on here, because I am going to start streaming more different games today, starting with today. I'm planning on going through Outer Wilds. I do want to get through some older NES games too, and some other things. It's going to be a mix of short games I can get through quickly and just longer ones as well. So we'll figure out what that whole lineup will be, but when I figured it out, you'll know it for sure. So with that said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And with all that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves until then.